Welcome to Sew Very Easy. My name is Laura and Happy New Year 2024. This year I invite you to join me for a Block of the Month program. Now we are not going to be making blocks every month. We are going to make components every month. So it's going to be a lot easier to do making that one piece over again until we get the amount that we need. And then at the end, we're going to put it all together. This quilt is going to be a 72-inch quilt. There's a few ways you can make it. Scrappy fabric, or if you'd like a 3-color quilt or 3-fabric quilt. Let me show you the fabrics. So for my quilt, I want to use up as many scraps as I can. I do have some leftover 2.5-inch strips and 2.5-inch cuts that I'll cut when I'm finished a project. I will also be able to use some 5-inch charm packs. I'll be able to trim these down, but at least I have a good assortment. And what I do is when I've finished a project, I cut whatever's left over into 2.5 inches, 5 inches, and if I can, even larger pieces. But these are the ones that I'm going to be using the most for this project. I am going to have a whitish kind of background, so I have little pieces of fabric that I'm going to be able to go through and trim down for the sizes that I need. So for this month, what we're going to do is just get all of our fabrics ready. Get them pressed, get them cut, and there'll be no more cutting throughout the entire project. So in the description, I will give you some information, and you're going to be able to take these little pieces and cut them out and get them ready for the project. Now for the project, there are some sizes that we're going to be able to use numerous times. So I have given them some letters. I like to start with the very largest size and cut those pieces, and then from there, sometimes I'm able to get some smaller and even smaller still. So I will start with needing 48 6.5-inch squares, H and F. So I'll cut those first. Anything left over can go for 2.5 inches, 4.5 inches, or the 4.5 by 12.5-inch pieces. This is just going to be able to save some fabric. So the white, we do need those 48 6.5-inch squares, 73 4.5-inch squares, 144 2.5-inch squares, and 12 4.5 by 12.5. So this can be all one color, or in my case, they're all scrappy colors. For my print fabric, I'm going to need 148 2.5-inch squares. I am going to need some long strips, 2.5 inches by approximately 24 inches. These can be trimmed down when we get further into the quilt. So cut 12 and make them just a little bit bigger so we can trim them as we need. We're going to need 72 4.5-inch squares. And these are the ones that I've started with those 5-inch squares. So I'm going to be able to take those and trim them all down to 4.5 inches. The odd size will be piece number M. We need 8 at 3.5 inches by 6 inches. We're also going to need that contrasting fabric in that same size. We will need 52 pieces of this contrast at 3.5 inches by 6 inches. And how I chose this is I took some fabric and I just went and just ran my fabrics close to this color. So I took out some yellow in the pile, so this will really be my only yellow. So it is going to make this quilt not look so scrappy because we have one color or one fabric that is going to keep that so it looks a little bit more organized. And that is most likely what I'm going to use for the binding. But if you'd like, you can keep 8 widths of fabric set aside for binding. And you can cut this whatever width you want, 2.5 inches, 2.25, whatever you normally do your binding, this is where this is going to go. So these are all the fabrics we're going to need for that entire 72-inch square quilt. So in the description, you will be able to print this out, cut these out, and make your piles. And that's all we're going to do for this month, is just prepare our fabric so we don't have any more cutting to do moving forward. In the description, I will give you that sheet that you can cut out and put with your fabric. And I'm also going to give you a list of when the videos are going to be uploaded so you can follow right along. Having that fabric cut first and ready is definitely going to save us a lot of time moving forward. I do hope you will join me February 8th for part 1, where we get to sew some units together. Thank you for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and I do have a newsletter. It's all free under Sew Very Easy. And be sure to make every day a Sewtacular day. Bye for now.